Hello YouTube, welcome to another one of my Duel Links videos. So today I'm going to revisit my Buster Blader Fusions deck. I think this version works better and it's also a little bit faster. I still have the Red Eyes engine, which is, you know, the 3 Red Eyes with the 2 Wyvern in case they hit the grave. I can, you know, special summon 1 Red Eyes by banishing the Wyvern. I kept the Red Eyes engine because I'm using Cards of the Redstone, which it's pretty amazing, not only because of the draw power, but also because it lets you thin your deck and put dragons into the graveyard, which is very important because you know, a lot of the people that are running this deck, for example Dan, I'm sure y'all watch his videos, he's amazing. He runs Fusion Gate. Although Fusion Gate works better because, you know, you're not using multiple copies of polymerization to fuse, I think you lose a lot of the potential of the Dark Paladin fusion because this card, you know, the main weakness of this card is trap cards like Metal Morph, Mirror Wall. So if your attack it's only at 2900, it's very vulnerable. So by filling up the grave with dragons, you know, you're able to play around cards like Mirror Wall, and that's why Cards of the Redstone it's very important. It allows you to dump 2 Red Eyes into the graveyard, and you know, you draw into your combo pieces. So that's why I'm still running 3 Polymerization and 1 Fusion Sage instead of Fusion Gate. I'm not sure how I was running it before, but I'm running 2 Buster Blader and 3 Fusion Substitutes, 2 Hex Sealed, and you know, the 1 Versago. And the reason why is because I don't want to clog my hand with too many big level monsters that, you know, I can't set anything to protect my life points. Now I was running Balance before to guarantee the turn 1 fusion. But the thing about it is, even if you can turn 1 into, you know, Dark Paladin, you're still pretty vulnerable because let's say you go first, you have 4 cards, one of them is going to be your, you know, your fusion card, polymerization or whatever, and then 2 are going to be your materials, and you're only left with 1 card. So you only have 1 spell negation, and you know, I think in a meta that's dominated by enemy controller, by, you know, order to charge, I think more than 1 it's definitely needed. So the way we build card advantage is, you know, by using dual standby and Cards of the Redstone. We also have 1 Heretic Dragon just in case they target it with like an enemy controller. You know, we can thin the deck even more. And we run 2 of the Exploder Dragon, which is basically a Yomi ship, but it's a dragon. It's really cool going first because you can just set this, and you know, if your opponent attacks into it, you have a clear board for an OTK, and you also don't reveal what you're playing, which is a cool thing about dual standby too, is that your opponent is not, you know, doesn't immediately know what you're running. So that's it for the deck. I'm gonna show you some replays first, and then we'll do a couple live duels. These replays go fairly quick, so I do have 3 of them, just so you see how the deck works, which, you know, should be pretty self-explanatory. I went with 3 Cards of the Redstone because even if I have, you know, I don't have any more Red Eyes to use them with, I can just discard them with Paladin's effect.
Duel.
So here he's going first, you know, sets 2 back row, sets 1 monster, summons 1 monster. I go Cards to the Redstone, so I have 2 dragons in my grave, which means that when my Dark Paladin hits the field, he's gonna be at 3900. And after I summon my 2nd dragon, he went up to 4400, so that means he can get over any monster that's, you know, 2100 and below, even through a Mirror Wall. So that's what I'm trying to, you know, the point that I'm trying to get across. You know, if you use Fusion Gate, you lose that huge potential that Dark Paladin has of just, you know, being able to play around those other cards. And I also went with this deck because with the new Dragon Structure deck, you're seeing, you know, a lot of dragons being played, and obviously both of the Buster Blader fusions are pretty hard counters to decks. Which this is one of those instances. I go first. I don't want to reveal what I'm playing because he's playing dragon, so I just end my turn. Summons a Hunter Dragon. I go Fusion Sage. He changed Solemn Wishes, which you know, even better. He told me what the back row was. Told me that I had nothing to be afraid of, so I can just go for the OTK. I was lucky enough to have 2 polymerization to start with, even without cards of the Redstone. So I go into Meteor Black Dragon, which I'm not sure if I mentioned that it's also in the extra deck. Just for plays like this when, you know, I can OTK. And then I go for the Buster Blader Swordsman Fusion and, you know, just OTK my opponent pretty easy. It's, you know, you can still lose against dragons, but it's gonna be pretty hard for you to mess that up. So this is the 3rd replay against the Yami Bakura, and I saved this one just to show you how ridiculously high Dark Paladin's attack can get, and you know how important having those extra cards for negations are, you know, really is. I believe we're going second. No, we're going first. So I go cards of the Redstone. Unfortunately, I don't have a polymerization to start, which will happen from time to time. You know, it's not guaranteed that you'll have it turn 1, but most of the time you'll get it. He attacks my Exploder Dragon and, you know, gets destroyed. I still don't have a polymerization, so I just go, you know, with my Heretic Dragon and start getting some damage. He does have Golden Apples and then goes into Knight of the Red Lotus. So this is where, you know, I figured that was more than likely an order to charge or something like that, since he was running Vanillas. I top decked the polymerization, which, you know, I had a really high chance of drawing it, given that I run 4 ways of getting to it. So I fuse into Dark Paladin. He has Half Shed, which wouldn't have helped him, but I just decided to negate it anyway, to get rid of the Red Lotus and even buff my Dark Paladin even more. So as you see, if you negate with a dragon, not only do you negate the spell, but you also buff your Dark Paladin for another 500. So here I'm just building my hand, you know, to make sure I don't lose to any kind of spell. I guess he tried to bait the negation with Heart of the Underdog, but I could have negated 3 spells anyway. I negate the Riryoku, buffing my Dark Paladin even more. Exploder Dragon destroys his monster, and look at that, 6400, 4100 damage over a guy at the Fierce Knight, so the Swift Knight. So he can get really strong, and you know, cards like Mirror Wall, Metamorph are not going to help your opponent. So those are the replays. Let's go see what kind of matchups we get. I think I'm still in Silver 5. I haven't had time to play much PvP. I was trying to finish the Bakura event because I wanted to get the Big Shield Gardener, and I was missing some of those green gems, but I finally was able to get him and the Psychic Monster, so I'm done with Bakura, even though I still only have 2 Empress. So we're going up against Yami Yugi, Power of Darkness, and I believe we're going first. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and thin my deck. He's not running Dragon, so it doesn't matter if he knows what I'm running. You know, I'll draw 2 and I'll send another Red Eyes just to thin the deck even more. I have Fusion Sage, so my deck immediately goes to 11 cards, which is turn 1, pretty crazy in my opinion. And I have another card of the Redstone to draw another 2 cards next turn. So I'm just gonna set my Exploder Dragon, and I'll wait until I have a Buster Blader to go for the Dark Paladin fusion. So next turn I'm going to be drawing, or I'm going to be getting into 3 more cards from my deck, so it's a pretty high chance of me getting Buster Blader or more polymerization. So he just attacked into my Exploder Dragon. Now I have a clean field in case I want to go for the OTK. Another card to the redstone. Let's just draw and you know, get some more cards in our hand. Okay, so there's the Buster Blader, and we do have we're gonna end up having one negation, and oh, this is great. You know, I'm glad we have these cards of the redstone, because that would have screwed us majorly. So we'll go for the Dark Paladin, and we might already have enough damage to use OTK, so I can hold on to my Exploder Dragon in hand. Let's see. Yeah, so we're at 5,000. No reason to summon my other dragon. He can't stop the attack, and even if that was an enemy controller, I could have negated it. So having that cards of the redstone definitely came in super clutch. That's why I don't run things like eliminating the league. I feel like it would hurt the consistency of the deck, even though, you know, in theory you could just pitch those extra spells for eliminating the league. So far I'm pretty happy with the way this deck is working. Let's see what this second matchup has for us. We might be able to do 3 duels if they go as quick as that one. And we're going up against Kaiba, so this could be a dragon matchup, which should be easy for us unless we don't see our polymerizations. And I am going first, which I don't prefer. He's running heavy starter. Okay.
Duel.
So I have 2 Buster Bladers, which is not ideal. I'm gonna thin my deck by using Fusion Sage, and I'm really hoping that we don't get OTK'd. I just don't want to use my dragon and, you know, lose my fusion. Instead, I'm just gonna bluff the trap and end my turn. See what he does. See what kind of deck he's running with heavy starter. I'm kind of glad that I didn't fuse. He probably has some sort of soul exchange if he's running high attack monsters. Okay, so again, no reason to fuse right here because our swordsman can't attack directly. So I'm gonna start trying to get some damage in. See if we can get some information as to what the man is running. Okay, so nothing that can stop my attack right there. So maybe he's just bluffing the traps the same way I am. We'll see right here. So he just sets a monster. Okay. So now I'm gonna go for the fusion because it didn't look like he had anything to stop us, and you know, if that's not a high defense monster, then we might win the game right now. Kind of sad to have to use the Exploder, but I want to keep my other monster in the field. That way, if the Buster Blader is not enough damage, then we can use him to finish him off. So he's a Totem Dragon, yeah, 3600 piercing damage. Pretty easy win. He kind of had the same idea I had, I guess, of, you know, trying to finish the game in one turn. Unfortunately for him, I was running the exact, you know, the counter. That's the cool thing about running Tea with this deck, is that, you know, your opponent doesn't know what you're playing. And yeah, we have time for one more duel. We're just 14 minutes in, and let's see how this one goes. Against the Yami Bakura, so we might see some Necrofear action. And I'm going second, so that's great. I prefer going second. You get an extra resource, and you know, you have the potential to OTK. So this hand is not the best hand. If we draw a red eyes, you know, it immediately becomes better. If we get a fusion, you know, that's also a polymerization. That's also a good thing. but I still have options. I can go Red Eyes Wyvern, which is an 1800 beater. You know, you can't go wrong with that, and you know, get some information as to what my opponent is playing. If he sets a bunch of cards, then that probably means that he thinks I'm running burn, so we don't have to immediately be worried about what he's setting. So we draw another card to the redstone. Pretty bricky hand, so we'll just have to go with Wyvern and see what he's playing. Okay, so it's definitely playing some sort of fiend deck. We might see Necrofear, Trance Archfiend most likely. Okay, Riryoku. I don't mind that. I mean, I'm gonna take 1600 damage, but that's okay. He used a Riryoku, which, you know, he probably should have saved for later. And if we don't draw a Red Eyes or a Fusion, we can just go Exploder Dragon. We draw another Red Eyes Wyvern, so we'll just go Exploder Dragon. He shouldn't be able to finish us off, I hope. But I didn't wanna go Heretic Dragon, and I don't know, this seems like a safer play, and hopefully we get a Red Eyes. He has 2 Fiend engraved now, so we could see a Necrofear soon. There's the Red Eyes. So we're gonna get to cycle through our deck, hopefully draw into a Polymerization and a Buster Blader. And we actually draw into 2 Polymerization. So we can go into or Dark Paladin, which I do prefer using that fusion, but we might still be able to OTK if we go very aggressive here, which I am going to. I do have sort of a backup play in you know, with my Red Eyes on the grave, but I'm just gonna go aggressive and see if it pays off. So on Red Eyes Wyvern, of course, if he steals my Swordsman with Necrofear, it's gonna suck for me. I pretty much lose if that happens. We're gonna get some good damage in. He does have the 3 Fiend engraved now, and he most likely has the Necrofear, but now he can't crash into my Buster Blader because that would just end the game. So he's gonna have to, you know, do something. He could just set the Necrofear and then wait it out, I guess. Which that's what it looks like. It's gonna happen unless he goes enemy controller for game right here. Which is kind of the downside of you know, going with this over Paladin. We get another card to the redstone, so not a lot we can do. We could summon our Red Eyes, but I think I'm just gonna wait. He's probably just waiting to draw that enemy controller. There's a Buster Blader. So now all I need is one of my fusion substitutes, and we can get over that Necrofear. Let's see, and there it is. Okay, so this should be game right here, unless he has a Kuribo or something, which he might, but we're still in pretty good shape. We're gonna keep those 2 cards to the redstone in hand to be able to negate any spells. And let's see if we can end the game right here. Now it looks like he does have a Kuribo or a magical arm shield. That doesn't matter because I still win the game. Oh, you know what? That was a pretty cool play. I totally forgot that immediately as soon as he goes to his side of the field, you know, he gets the buff of all the attacks. So wow, magical arm shield for game. I'm not mad at that at all. He knew what his win con was, and you know, he waited out. So I guess that's another card that I have to figure out how to play around. But anyway, there's the deck. We won 2 games. Sorry, we won 2 games, lost 1. But you see the the potential that this deck has, and maybe you can find a way to make it even better. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you want. And until next time.